Welcome back to the Irish Bandit channel, or if you're new here, welcome to the channel. I, as always, am your host, the one, the only, the second Irish Bandit. Today on the channel, I'm going to be reviewing a game that I've been playing for the past week, and it has been quite a ride as far as the game goes. Now, it is by a Canadian developer named Sad Panda Studios, who's probably best known for their idle clicker games, Crush Crush and Blush Blush. You're going to notice the theme going on here, but anyway, I'm going to be looking at their latest release called Hush Hush. See, I said there was a theme. So we're going to talk about this game. Now, I'm going to keep the spoilers to a minimum if you haven't played it yet, and if you're looking forward to playing it. There will be no spoilers in this review, so you don't have to worry about me ruining anything. So we're just going to get right down into it, and let's talk about it. Now, I'm going to be judging this game on a few different criteria, that being story, art design, sound and music, and voice acting. So let's just jump right into it and start with the story. You play as the unnamed protagonist of this game, where you win a contest to a remote little village called Sabrosa. Before you can even make it to Sabrosa, you're contacted by two deities who send you on a mission to save the Destined Five. What is this quest all about? Glad you asked. You have to save the five main girls in this game, that being the bubbly and airheaded Elle, the daredevil Eero, the feisty Cassie, the kitty girl Quill, and the gamer girl Mio. During the game, you get to know all five girls on a personal and intimate level. I do mean intimate. I got the 18 plus DLC. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. You have to get to know each girl and know their deepest, darkest secrets to unlock all the stories in this game. How do you do it? You can either choose the path of light and virtue or the path of dark manipulation. The choice is up to you how you do it, but can you do it is the question. I thought the story for Hush Hush was fantastic. There were so many multiple stories going into this game, and so many of them intertwined together so perfectly. Like, some of my favorite stories were like Mio's story, because, you know, cards on the table, Mio is my favorite character in both Crush Crush and Hush Hush. I thought her story was really well done. I thought Eero's story was really heart-wrenching when she makes her discovery. Like I said, no spoilers. I thought Elle's story was particularly well done, because you have this, you think she's an airhead, bubblehead, things like this about her, but she is such a sweet, sweet girl in the end. And I really loved the resolution of her story. It was well done. All the stories were well done, well told to the very end. My one big negative, well, not a big negative, it's more of a nitpick than anything, was the ending of Quill's story. It just kind of ended anticlimactically, but the other stories ended really, really well. So when we're talking about stories, I got to give the story portion of the review 4.5 out of 5. Like I said, Mio's story, Eero's story, and Elle's story were all big, big highlights for me. Quill's story, a little bit of a nitpick, but it was so well done. So going on from there, let's talk about the art in this game. I really love the look of this game, honestly and truthfully. I'm just gonna, I'm not gonna go too much into it, but I loved the look of this game. All the girls looked fantastic. All the guys looked fantastic, because it's not just women in this game. There are guys in this as well. And they all looked great. They all looked distinctive. They all looked different. And I love that. You know, Cassie didn't look like Elle, didn't look like Bonnabelle, didn't look like Eero, didn't look like Mio. It was, you could tell who was who. The only ones you could kind of think were the same were maybe Eero and her brother Eli, and Elle and her brother Dorian. So, kind of the family resemblance there, but it worked. I loved I loved that aspect of the game as well. So everything with the artwork just absolutely blew me away. It looked great. There, going back to the 18 plus, yeah, everything looked good there. Looked good there too as well. So that's all I'll say about it. I'm not going to get too much into the 18 plus DLC, but definitely if you get this game, if you buy Hush Hush, definitely get the 18 plus DLC to go with it too. If you're over 18 years old, that is. So yeah, artwork, art design, everything just perfect, well done. 5 out of 5 for that. So no negatives on that one. So going from art design, let's talk about the sound and the music of this game. Again, this is another area where I have to give the game high marks because the music was so fitting for every scenario, be it light and fun times or sexy times, or even during the darker moments in this game. And this game gets dark. I'll talk about that when I'm a little later on, but yeah. During the dark moments, the music is so fitting. During the light moments, the music is happy. The emotional moments, just it has that music that just pulls at your heartstrings when you get to those emotional moments. And there are a few of them. We'll talk about them when we talk about the characters in this game, or when we talk about the voice acting in this game. But yeah, the music was so good. If I had one complaint, again, this is more of a nitpick. I don't have any major complaints with this game, but this is more of a nitpick. The music got a little repetitive, but I mean, what do you expect with something like that? Like, if you look at something like Doki Doki Literature Club, you had the same music over and over again, like the same theme, like the original Doki Doki theme, and they just made variations of that along the way during the game, and that kind of got repetitive, but you never heard like one song in one area redone in another area. It was all different throughout, and it all worked very, very well. So the music set the mood great, got a little repetitive, but it doesn't take away the fact that I absolutely adored the music of this game, and I am looking forward to picking up the soundtrack. I actually said that, oh, Sad Panda's going to get another $7 off me, but that's okay because I love supporting a Canadian. I love supporting a Canadian software developer, so I've got no issues with putting more money down for this game. But I thought the music was fantastic, and it scores 5 out of 5 for me. So let's talk about the voice acting in this game next because it was outstanding. Now, if you've played Crush Crush or Blush Blush, you've probably heard the voices before for some of the characters. Maybe not the newer characters, because there were a lot of characters in this that I didn't immediately recognize or didn't recognize at all, like Callie, Liliana, Alice D. I think this was the first game they're in. I may be wrong. I don't know. But everyone else, like Bonnabelle, Lotus, Alpha, who else? Kelby, Nim from Blush Blush, Dimitri from Blush Blush. Dimitri and Lotus are brother and sister in the game, and I absolutely adore the two of them. But all the voices just fit perfectly with all the characters. But I especially want to highlight the main five, the Destined Five. They did such an amazing job, and I saved one for last, especially because I need to rave about the job she did in this game. So you had Lily Patterson as Quill. She brought that cat-like quality to her voice because Quill is a cat girl. So she did, all the purring and just the breathiness to her voice, I guess you could say. It just, everything about her was just perfect and worked well. Melody Muse's Elle, again, oh my god, she did such a fantastic job because when you first meet Elle in this game, she is so unsure of herself. But by the end, she just has this confidence in her voice you could just hear. And it is such an amazing progression. So Melody Muse did such a great job. Morgan Long as Mio just had parts where her dialogue would have me just bursting out laughing from things she said, but she brought such a vulnerability to her voice in other places that it just broke my heart. And it's like I said, Mio is my favorite character, so it was especially moving for something like that when she brought such a vulnerability and such heartbreak to some of these parts. This is an interesting name. Pickle 131 is Cassie. Again, she starts off as this tough chick, and she just, through the progression of her story, you just hear more vulnerability in her voice, much like Mio. And it was just, I thought Cassie was just perfectly nailed down for the voice with everything she goes through during the progression of the game. And the one that I love most, Rachel Messer as Eero. She has a part at the end of her story that just absolutely broke my heart when she made her realization, her final devastating secret. I wish I didn't put a spoiler. I wish I didn't resign myself to saying no spoilers, because I'd love to talk about this. But, again, much like Cassie, tough chick. When you meet her, she isn't looking for somebody in her life because she's going through something at the moment. And then at the end of her story, I cannot rave enough about Rachel's performance in this game. She was just the MVP of this. And given with Eero's character, that kind of fits being the MVP. But yeah, everybody did a fantastic job from top to bottom. I don't even have a nitpick about anybody who voiced anything in this game. I loved Eli's voice. Okay, maybe Eli was just a little bit over the top, and that's another thing I want to get into as well, with Eli's character. It was great to see some LGBTQ representation in this game with Eli's character. It was so well done. I loved his character and his side dates so much. Another thing I got to rave about, so I can't even call that a nitpick if I rave about it. Bonnabelle's voice was just perfect. It had that slow southern drawl, and it just, you heard her voice if you played Crush. So, but yeah, everybody worked so well, but especially the 5 Destined girls. So yeah, big marks. If I could give it more than a 5 out of 5 for the voice acting, I would, but I can only go so far as 5 out of 5. So yeah, it just off the charts for me for the voice acting. Everybody give yourselves a round of applause, please. You deserve it. So that only leaves one more category of my overall thoughts. My final thoughts on Hush Hush is I absolutely loved it. I thought it was, I thought going into this game it was going to be like, given what Crush is, when you get the 18 plus DLC for that, or played on Nitaku.net, non-spawn, but Nitaku, if you want to sponsor me, I'm open to it. But when you start the game, you think it's just going to be all this fun, sexy adventure, and it has those parts to it as well. I'm not going to lie, it is fun. It has a sexiness to it, but when it gets dark, it gets dark, and that is, again, without giving any spoilers away, that was something about the game that just crushed me. There's a part with one of the girls. I'm not going to say who. I'm going to, no spoilers. But there's a part with one of the girls where if you do something wrong, something very tragic happens to her. And after that happened, I sat at my computer after I quit the game. I just sat in total silence for however long I was still on my computer. When I shut down my computer for the night, I broke. I could not stop crying after this moment happened. And it was a much different moment than, say, what happens with Aerith in Final Fantasy VII. That is unavoidable. You can't stop that from happening. This, I knew I could have stopped from happening, but in the same way that I felt I failed Aerith, I felt I failed this character. And it took a lot of me mentally saying to myself, no, you got to go back, you got to try again. Because I was dead bound determined I was going to not play Hush Hush for a while. I wasn't going to stop completely, but I was going to just take a few days away, get my head on straight, because it messed with my head so badly that it was like, no, what if I pick, what if the other option is wrong as well? So I finally decided to go back. The option I was going to do was the right one. That's all I'll say. So I was able to finish that story out. And when I finished that story out, I felt so much better afterwards. I was like, okay, this is the right thing to do. And then I ended up completing the game and getting the ending I wanted. But I thought Hush Hush was a fantastic game overall. Great story, great music, great voice acting, great artwork. It was a fun game. It made you more connected. If you played Crush Crush, you got more connected to the characters from that game because of this game. And I felt more connected to the characters as well, because when you meet them in just an idle dating sim, there's like not much to it, but you get an actual story. You start to care for these characters, because Cassie was never one of my favorite characters in Crush Crush. I liked her, but she wasn't one of my favorites. With Hush Hush, the story that they gave her, she quickly became one of my favorites, because you could tell with the character of Cassie, she was just, good at heart, but went down the wrong path. And it's like I said, Mia was my favorite character in Crush Crush, but I loved the story they gave her in this, and it just endeared her to me more, and I thought everything was so well done. So I highly, highly recommend Hush Hush if you like Crush Crush. So many repeating words here. But if you liked any of Sad Panda Studios' other offerings, I highly recommend this one. It was a great play, and I finished it in about 24 hours, honestly. Well, I played it over the course of a week, and it finished in about 24 hours. I didn't get everything, but I might go back sometime soon and try and get all the other achievements on it. I'm not much of an achievement hunter like Rider Pride 639 is, but for some games, yeah, I'll try to get more achievements on it and play it further down the road and see what happens. Like, I gotta see what happens when I decide to be a lot less virtuous than I was in my first playthrough, because I play it like I'm playing myself. Well, except I didn't put within it, but but I play it like me. I think I feel I'm a good person, so I play the game as a good person and try to make all the right choices. Sometimes I had to dip my toe into doing the dark stuff, but ultimately I tried to keep it on the virtuous side. So I definitely say give Hush Hush a play. It is fun, and it is something you won't forget anytime soon. But if you've played Hush Hush, what do you think of it? Let me know in the comments section down below. I'd really love to read your thoughts on this. While you're down there, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that. In the description, you are going to see all the ways you can help support this channel. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and Reddit. You can get your Irish Bandit merchandise at my Redbubble shop. You can pick up a copy of my very first novel, Shade Falling, on Kindle on Amazon, and coming soon will be the paperback copy. I'm going to have the proof coming very, very soon. I'll have a video about that next week. And you can also buy me a coffee. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, tap the bell and you'll be notified whenever a brand new video goes live. We are in the closing weeks of 2022, so I'm going to be looking at the 5 worst moments in wrestling this year. And then coming very, very soon is my 2022 year in review, so look forward to that. And I will talk to you again very soon.